Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
Deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. And we are back. I apologize for being late. The show with a gal, shout out to him. Make sure you subscribe to him as well as Jess. She knows Arsenal's in the title overran, but we're here now. She was ill last week. Maybe that's the latest list of excuses, like when Arsenal don't win the league. But how you doing, Jess? You sound banged up, man. You still sound mashed up.
Because I actually am sick.
Oh, I feel bad now. Oh, you're actually ill. Oh, mate.
Yes, I actually am sick. And I don't do well when I'm sick either. I'm like I don't do well.
What is it? The flu?
Yeah.
Need to get some white rum, man, and honey and ginger and lemons.
I know. I don't have any like bourbon or whiskey or anything. I tried to make a hot toddy, but didn't hit the same. So I'll be hitting the NyQuil after this, but. We haven't spoken in a while, and I heard you were calling for me on Twitter. So
I'm happy you said that, man. How's the international break been treating you, man? You was gassing up these youths, bro. What's going on?
Was I?
Getting slapped by Panama and that.
Let
it's
me
crazy.
know when I was gassing them up.
This you lot are hosting the World Cup for what reason? You lot must have been playing soccer, man. Yeah, I've definitely been calling you. Definitely
do not remember me gassing them up.
Nah, you used to gas up the USA, man. You was gassing them. You gassed up Robertson, which you were right on because he's actually from England. But
yeah, but he didn't play. He didn't play. He didn't play in them games.
No, he's cool. He's English, so he's cool. The agenda against him stops. I just want to know what the USMNT is saying. Pochettino and you lot are bottling. I thought you lot were serious. You lot are not doing anything next season, next in the World Cup. You lot lucky you're qualifying by default.
I mean, Brazil are getting slapped up.
Brazil and America is very different. Very different.
I know.
We will be at the World Cup.
Brazil are meant to be good.
Yeah, so you lot. Do you know how big America is and you ain't got a decent football team? We
didn't start playing until way after.
That's you lot's business. You lot colonized the whole world with England and you ain't got no ballers. What's going on?
Listen, we're just as good at soccer as you guys are with basketball and football and all that.
No. Who cares about football unless it's the Super Bowl? And who cares about basketball, man? We're better than you at everything else. We're better than you.
You have 3 teams. You have 3 teams, and not a single one of them will win the World Cup.
Whatever you say, do you not watch the English Premier League? Is the team you love not in England? We win.
Oh, I love my team.
Yeah, whatever you say, we win. England wins. America loses.
Okay, we'll see.
It's cool, but why? Like, what's going on? What's going on? Just I want to know because you lot said these lot were you said these lot were serious. What's going on?
I never said that.
You never said that.
No.
You never said America are going to do serious things?
No.
Just know for the rest of my life, anytime America football team suffers any L, I'll be there across WhatsApp, across Twitter. Okay. I will be there. I was calling for you. But away from that, a side note, what did you make of the women's yesterday, man? They beat Real Madrid. Is it a positive omen for the men's side?
No.
Came back from behind as well, picked them up.
I mean, I'm so glad they sacked Jonas. Because we would have never been able to do it.
Facts.
With him, because he's not a great coach. Not for us. I think that as somebody that's like very like I love the women's game down. Had we had not gone through,
you need to do more content around the women's game as well, man. You're missing out.
Yeah, well, I do more of that like on my Instagram and stuff. But they're like. Real Madrid, the women's side is not good, and so had they had gone through, it would have been an upset. It really would have. So I'm glad that we got it back. Now, that's not to take away anything from the performance. I think Russo has probably been the biggest revelation since Jonas has been sacked.
Oh no!
I've never seen a manager make a world-class player look so bad. Russo is like she's just amazing and she could have had a hat trick. She really could have. But I think probably the biggest story is Chloe Kelly. She's a
Talk to
player
us.
that a year ago I thought we should take her from Manchester City because she's not even playing. And I remember some girls
Sam
in
Bunny Shaw next, man. Jamaica in the building.
some of my girls in the group chat were like, "Oh, she's not that good, and she's not this." And I'm just like, "This is somebody that like won like you the Euros. She didn't win you the Euros, but she had that major moment
She
where
played
she
a
scored that
pivotal role.
penalty. She's a top player, and her coming back to life at Arsenal is such a great story. And she was amazing yesterday. She just adds a quality in the wings that we just don't have. So the women are similar but different to the men, where they have a lot of the talent. They just need a coach that can bring it out of them. So yeah, I was happy with what happened yesterday, but that should have been the expectation considering we are a much better side than Real Madrid is. Like on the
I
women's
wish we
side,
could say that with the men's team, man.
they're just not, but we come up against Lyon next, and they're
That's
the
a serious
most,
team.
yeah, they are the Real Madrid of the women's side of Champions League. So that's going to be tough. But listen, if we go out, I want to go out to somebody that we're meant to, not Real Madrid, so
I
they're
want to
very,
ask you as
very
well, yeah. Go on. I want to actually
Yeah.
ask something in relation to the women's game. Like,
No, go ahead.
obviously, as a man, like, do you know what it is? Because I speak to women like yourself. You lot love football. You lot love football, in it doesn't really matter if you're a man or a woman. But a lot of women I speak to, a lot of them are trying to get into. A lot of them are actively themselves, and men as well, actively starting to do watch-alongs and watch the women's games and attend the games and whatnot. But equally, forget men's opinion at one point. Yeah, there's a lot of women who don't watch the women's game. What do you think the women's game needs to grow? Because as an outsider, I think it needs to be judged on its own product. I think this whole judging it against the men and anything the men can do, we can do better. The whole gender wars thing, that's dead. They're two very great products in themselves. Accept it for that. I think the game needs to focus on, I would say, little girls like 5-6 years of age, get them loving football training and all of that. Then obviously in 20 years, they're going to be lit. And I also, and again, this is probably beyond my remit, but what I have felt is a lot of the time the women's games are on TV or even at the stadiums. There's quote unquote big Premier League games or games going on. So naturally, if there's a casual viewer that just thinks, let me pop on the women's game, I might just tend towards what I know type of thing. But what's it missing to kind of get to where it needs to get to? Or what do you think needs to happen as someone that loves it?
I just think like investment and time is a big thing. I just think it takes time for people to get interested in things that really weren't a huge 10 years ago, especially like in the US, it's always been big, but that's because our national team has always been something else, so it's growing, in the UK. And I just think it takes time. I think with the like you said, like the spots that they put the games in sometimes do collide with bigger games, and so you're going to naturally get less viewership. So they need to look at that. And then the investment aspect of things, which I think is interesting, more people will invest in women's football. Actually, probably a hot take and an unpopular opinion is I do think that
We love it.
maybe
Go on.
in the WSL, it would not be a bad idea to take away relegation and promotion, just because people coming in to invest don't want to see. It's like kind of like the men's game, and it's why the Cronkies and FSG and them get a really bad rep, because they're used to coming from American sports where there is no relegation or anything. But for such a new burgeoning kind of like new thing where big investors are coming in, they want to protect their investment. And I'll be honest, I do think that like that's why the NWSL is growing so quick. There is no relegation or promotion, but people are very invested in those teams. More people would invest in the WSL if they didn't feel like they would go to the next league down that gets no looks. If your team goes down, it's done. Yeah, so I think looking at that instead of thinking like, let's make the field smaller, let's make the goal smaller, not really from that perspective, but how do you bring investors in that are going to they're going to want to protect their investment, but they're willing to put in big money. So I think that's an interesting little thing, but it's just going to take time. And a couple of years ago, like we wouldn't even be having these conversations. So I do think it is growing. And I think when people watch women's football, especially men, they don't need to be looking at it from oh, but the men's game looks like this. They almost need to look at it as like a different sport almost
Yep.
and take it for what it is, because then you can actually appreciate it. I think when you're constantly like, yeah, but a man would have been able
Yeah,
to
I
save
could
that
play. I could
goal,
play in
or
this if I was a
yeah,
woman and all them kind of chats.
yeah, nobody's trying to hear that, but the women's game is really, really improving, and there's household names, and there's some big players out there that I feel like people could really appreciate if they just watched it for what it is. So, yeah, but it's near and dear to my heart, and I'm just happy to see that, like, at least from an Arsenal perspective, we've always been a one club type of thing. So a lot of the men that watch the actual men, they actually take a little bit of an interest in the women too.
As it should be the case. It's just unfortunately, it's like what you said there. I just feel there's too much gender wars around it. Like, yeah, you can do this with this and that, but it's a separate thing. Women love football. Them lot are doing their thing. Just keep it moving. How is football viewed in America? Like, I know it's changing. I know you got like South American immigrants and immigrants in general that their countries or the countries their parents immigrated to America from love football. And I know Americans are starting to love football. But as a naive UK guy, it just seems like football is for little kids and just little kids, little boys and girls. Really, it's not. It's like, yeah,
Well, they need to understand, like, parents need to understand that when their kid is choosing between football, basketball, and American football, our football and basketball, that the sport that they should be choosing is football, because that's the one that's the most lucrative. That is the most lucrative sport. They only can view it from like once you get past a certain, especially because a lot of people that actually play the sport are from, Black backgrounds or Hispanic backgrounds. So a lot of the investment will only go into it in terms of taking your kids back and forth if they feel like they'll get something back from it, scholarships, whatever. But it the sport you're gonna come out with the most millionaires is actually gonna be football, like in the UK. So I think if parents understand that and put a lot of emphasis in their kid getting the best type of like training and then send them overseas, it like Pulisic did, they'll get more out of it. I think that's a big thing, is like it seems like it's only for kids, because once you get into high school, they cut them off and say, well, the only way that you're going to be rich and famous and successful is through like American football and basketball. But that's not actually the case. If you actually put them into academies at a young age, if they're good enough, they could end up being millionaires. And I think it's an easier pipeline, to be honest. I really do. But yeah, I think from the women's side, it's always been a huge thing. Everybody that I knew played. But from a men's side, it's always
you should be
about,
trying to sign up to a women's team, man. Like, bro, there's a bag there. Surely you can get a game.
no, man, I'm cooked. Like,
Wait, what position was you?
a defensive midfielder and a right back.
Oh.
So
I don't know, man. I don't know.
A bit of a bruiser. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of parents understanding that there is a pipeline to success with football that is available. And if your kid is good enough, don't kill them and make them go to a different sport. Let them play this out and see where they get, so yeah. But I think that's why, because they stop them from playing at a certain stage, because they don't feel like, they actually don't understand that you can get your kids into these academies and they can be an academy player and then become a professional footballer. They don't know it. They don't know it, so, but we know. So, yeah. No, I wasn't a regista. I was a kick your legs out from underneath you type of player.
Oh,
Sorry.
you sound like you got no technical levels still.
Can
you do step over?
Huh?
Can you do a step over?
I can do a step over.
I don't know, because you're moving like you're saying you're a bruiser. I'm not hearing you talk about your technical level. Like,
no, I feel like I'm more of a Fabinho than a Rodri.
You're more of a who?
A Fabinho.
Oh, you're basic. Big him up. No, we need people like you in the team, but yeah, I think you're downplaying yourself, man. I think all us YouTubers need to all link up and have a game of football, man. Like,
this was back in the day where as a DM, you didn't need to be nothing else but a just destroyer. That was it.
They're calling you Roy Keane for that deed, yo.
Yeah.
Just was to let them know you were there. Ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Oh, big up everybody in the chat. Smash the like button. But yeah, before we move on, I think this is a comment I also see about how expensive it is in America. It's expensive in England, but there's ways around it. It does seem like a rich kind of sport. And I get it because I do think, obviously, I've never lived in America, but it must be a cultural thing. Don't get it twisted. People do link up and play basketball and do all of that in cages in the United Kingdom. But typically, it's football. You're playing football in a cage. You're playing against a wall. You're putting your jumpers down. That's kind of our thing where you lot, obviously, the NFL and that. So there is a degree of you're going against years of cultural ingrainment kind of things. Like it's never like we're never gonna be that big for NFL. I know it's growing in England, and you know Spurs, the club down the road, they have games there week in week out. Some of it's is culturally, but I think just put it right. You know, as fucked as it sounds, pardon my French. Make sure you're smashing the like button. If people can see that their kids can make money and also element of enjoyment, it makes sense. Because I do look at, and I know it's different, but you look at India, who's got like 1 billion people, and you look at America, who the landmass is massive, but there must be decent footballers that one day you can have a decent 11 and, you know, not get done up by Canada and Panama and
the main
crazy
issue
countries
is that
there.
your best athletes are playing football. Our best athletes are not. Our best athletes, like if you had like a LeBron James type of athlete playing football instead of basketball, it would be different. I'm not trying to shade the players that are on the US team now, but they're not our top 1% of athletes, you know? So, but you don't get that because they just automatically veer over to basketball or football. And if it's not basketball, I would say like, do not play NFL football because I just feel like most of them end up broke. Their contracts are not great. I actually try to get my kid to play like UK football. That's what I would try to do. The CTE that those people are getting, the long-term like head injuries. I'm just like, that is, to me, that's like the worst sport.
It's madness.
But yeah, your best athletes are literally playing football and ours are not. And so until
because we do things properly over here, man.
Huh?
We do things properly over here. It's calm.
He thinks
it's
so.
Cool, man. It's cool, man. You're not gonna get there, man. You're not gonna get there. Like I watched the playoffs, the NFL playoffs for the first time. Like the first time because I'll have American football on and I'm half watching it, but this was the first time I actually like watched it from start to finish, and I actually think it's quite good, man. Maybe because I like that kind of stuff in our football from a tactical point of view, but it's actually not as boring as it sounds. Like if you told someone from the UK there's all these stoppages and a guy comes on to kick the ball and Super Bowl, the halftime show, that was probably I did like Kendrick Lamar's thing, but I would say that was the least enjoyable purely because I liked the whole effing thing around it. I like the whole thing around that position where you tackle people. It's actually quite good. Really is quite good, man. Best NBA players are now Europeans. Come on, see America. America not good at nothing no more, just, man. It's cool, man.
I didn't know LeBron James was from Europe.
Still repping LeBron James. Meaty, man. Meaty. Well, who's that guy? Is it Luka Doncic or whatever? He's going to take his spot, man. He's going to take his spot. Oh, man. But yeah, man, India has a lot of good footballers. I've seen it, but we only give an F about cricket. And that's the thing. Some countries, if that's your thing, that's your
cricket. They dominate.
West Indians love it.
They dominate that, don't they?
Yeah,
I've never really watched cricket like that.
My granddad used to force me to. I'm not on it. It's boring. Yeah. It's fun playing. It's boring. It goes on for days. Well, there's different types of cricket. It goes on for days, man.
There's some sports that I'd rather play than watch. Like
such as
like baseball, I'd never watch it. Like you could not pay me to watch it. It's so boring. But I actually liked playing when I was younger.
We called it rounders in school.
Rounders?
Rounders, man.
What's wrong with y'all?
What's wrong with you lot? Like it's rounders, man.
Why can't you guys just call it what it's called? Like what's going on?
It's called rounders. I don't care about no baseball. Rounders. Why is it called baseball? That shit's rounders, man. You lot have the wrong terminology.
You're running to the bases. Baseball.
Okay. Soccer.
You guys made up soccer.
Yeah, but we call it football.
You originated the name soccer, and then when we started using it, you guys are like, "Why are you saying that?" It's like because you.
Yeah, we took it from you lot because we made it wavy. You lot have bare silly names for stuff. You lot call crisps chips. It does not make sense. Restroom, toilet. What else have you lot got? Tomato, like tomato. Like it's tomato. Like you lot can never do pronunciation police with us.
You guys always do too much.
Rounders is older than baseball.
Rounders. It's horrendous.
It's round. It's rounders, man. It's not even a circle. Why are you calling it rounders? See, Americans. Yeah, I think Americans are not the smartest. Like, I think you lot will fail a general knowledge test if 5 Americans did it, 5 English girls
Nah,
did
I
it. You
saw
get
a
hiding
video the other day where they went up to a couple girls in the UK and asked them, they said, are Americans stupid? And they said, yeah, Americans are stupid. And then the guy asked them how many states are in the United States, and they
52.
didn't know the answer. I was dead. I was like,
Is it 52?
everybody's stupid. Is it 52?
Yeah.
Is that what you think?
But don't try and trick me. Is it 52?
Are you?
It's
are you
50
sure?
something. 51? How many states is it? You should know it. You don't know it. You don't know
I
it.
have no idea how many states are in the United States.
So Americans are stupid. You don't know your own place.
I've never known how many states are in the United States.
How many states? United States. I'm closer than Jess. A man said letting us down. I'm closer to 50. I said 52. I'm going to take you to the 52nd state, DG. That just seems like you want to dead me. No, bro, I got that right. Bro, I got it closer than her.
You didn't get it right. It's just 50.
You said you don't know. At least I tried.
Of course I know how many.
You don't know. And plus, Americans are stupid. You lot say everything is Europe. You lot class England and all the little places in England and Spain as Europe. I'm going to Europe. You lot are very ignorant around culture outside of America. You lot are just, you don't even know your roots and that. Like,
we're not dumb. We're just very like hyper
ignorant
on ourselves.
Ignorant.
Nah, we're not.
You lot are so ignorant.
Why I wouldn't call somebody stupid and then get like the most basic question wrong.
You didn't answer. You said you don't know. Yeah, you said you don't know.
Of course I know.
No, you can't do that. Of course I know thing because you didn't answer. That's not gonna hold up in court, darling. You did not answer.
Of course it's gonna hold up in court. I'm not in court. You are.
Nah, we're in court today.
You're saying you're smarter than me, so
I'm smarter than you, but I tried to answer. You didn't answer. What's the point going, I do know, I didn't answer. Now the answers come out. I did know. There's no way of confirming that.
You got it wrong, man.
Next question.
Okay. Good.
Next question. Go on. Someone ask a question before I get onto football, because now we're not going out like this. How many counties in the UK? Yeah. Go on. How many counties are in the UK?
Counties,
yes.
8.
I know the answer. I'm not gonna say like you said.
How many is it, y'all? Is it 8?
Is it 8?
I don't even know.
Right.
I have no idea. So.
Yeah, we don't have states.
You don't have states. You have counties.
What do we counties? We just got towns and shit in it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the difference? Like, what is an example of a county? It's
Middlesex. Like Middlesex. Like you got Middlesex. You got.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's a county, isn't it? Like you got Middlesex, a town.
Borough
would be a town. You got boroughs.
Yeah. I would never know that.
See, this is what I'm saying. 57
but ain't nobody
counties.
Checking for y'all. Like
of course you're checking for us. You're checking for us. The very player you love, Bukayo Saka, was born here, mate. You know, you lot do love us. You lot love us.
I'm checking for Bukayo. I'm not.
It's changed now. Like, you lot all want to be like us from the United Kingdom now.
You forget. I was there, and so I've seen what y'all got firsthand. Y'all chat a little bit too much,
and we cook better than you lot as well.
Oh my God, though, you guys are upset because what's his name came to the UK and talked about your beans on toast.
Who?
And never recovered.
Who?
Like the main food.
Yeah, because he's not. But that's not cultured. You lot think you're mess because you deep fry everything.
We don't deep fry everything.
You deep fry everything. That's all I see on TikTok. You lot do mad things, bare sugar and stuff. You lot can't cook. Some places can cook. Some of your food looks good, man. English food is dead. What English food?
Your native food to that place is brown. Like everything is brown.
I'm not backing the native. Okay, the Native American food's dead then.
The bread, the beans, everything is brown.
The Native American food's dead. I'm not talking about the culture influence. Then it's dead as well. Then because I'm not talking about the indigenous food, English food.
It's bad, and you guys have terrible weather.
Yeah, we do.
That's all. But you guys have great shopping and stuff like that. I'll give you that.
Do we?
Actually, and I like it's not just, I like the transit system, but that's because LA doesn't have one. So
See, I swear you lot just started using like contactless and credit cards and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, you guys have been using that a lot longer than
See,
us.
this is why I can't take America with English people. We're not taking them seriously. These lot are slow, man.
Then don't
Slow.
ever come over here then. I don't want to hear about you guys coming to Miami and LA on holiday.
Nah.
Come over here then.
Holiday.
Don't
It's
come
better
over
than saying
here.
vacation.
On holiday.
Yeah, I'll say that your English accent's getting a lot better. Over the time we've been streaming, it's been getting better. Sometimes I'm like, hang on, what's going on there? Like, the UK's official dish is tikka masala. Like, nah. It's mess, but I don't think that is. I'm screaming. England got anything that America has isn't better than a good old fish and chips. It's not. I'm sorry, it's not. Do you know how mess that is?
The spot around the corner that does fried catfish slaps. So much
Right,
harder.
no, but
than
that's
that.
cheating though, man. When you start
though?
bringing in soul food and all of that, then I'm gonna say, yeah.
What the problem is with fish and chips over there is that a lot of times they don't season it enough. It's just bland. You need salt.
But you're doing the African American thing. You're sneaking that into American culture. I'm talking about proper English fish and chips, Mike.
What are those mushy peas for? What the fuck?
No, I'm not with that. I'm not with the mushy peas. I'm not with that. Black pudding, fried eel. I'm not on
like
that.
fish and chips, but it has to come from like a certain place where they
it has to. And
they do like that.
But we're better than these lot, man. We're better than these lot. Fish and chips, beans on toast. I'm not really a big fan of beans on toast, to be fair with you, but you can season that up.
The beans on toast feels like it because it's like a delicacy there, but it's a struggle meal, isn't it?
Basically, I wouldn't say a delicacy. Like, to be honest, I think it's because you Americans are more bewildered around it and how like that kind of thing. Like no one ain't really talking about that.
We have struggle meals.
What struggle meals over there?
We got struggle meals like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Horrible. I used to have that in primary school.
Yeah, like fried bologna, the ramen out of the cups. I eat that shit every day. I don't even struggle anymore. I love a struggle meal.
Nah, I'm not on the struggle meal thing. If I said someone tell the UK they can stop eating war rations, shut up, man. Because I don't want to go left, but some of you do not live in certain places to be doing that. DG, what's the capital of USA? Please, no Google. I got this. I'm getting nervous. I got this. Washington.
You got it. Okay, good.
Come on, man. You can't style me. You can't style me.
You did good, man.
I got
watching up TV.
No, to be fair, I used to like all of that like economic stuff, man. To be fair, DJ, someone born in North London and living most of my life in the US. Yeah, I can't back you on the food chat. Some of you are just agreeing with Jess because you like her. Oh my god, she's so pretty. Oh my days.
It's just true. It's just true.
DG don't know about mac and cheese. Come on now, let's be serious. I'm telling you, my people, their mac and cheese better than anything America can rise up. Let's remember, yeah, it might be England, but unlike these lot, yeah, we are English and we know our culture. You get me. Let's not do all of that. Like, just doesn't look.
How did Jamaica do in Nations League?
Don't watch that, man. In Nations League, what's going on? Have you been to Jamaica on holiday? If you're ever planning to, I'm gonna get your passport gone. If you slander us, you're never going there. You're never going there. What do you mean? How did Jamaica do? We must have done all right.
One island, you've seen them all. So.
Hey, chill.
Stay one island.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Don't ever in your life try to slide to us. Jamaica, Barbados.
I'm okay.
We're the best.
We're the best. I'm fine.
I'm annoyed because you live in LA and the weather's actually nice. No, don't bread us. Jamaica's the waviest. You said how we did in the nations in the league. Jamaica, please tell me we won because I didn't.
No, I'm just joking. I love Jamaica.
I need to see now because if we did win, I'm on you. Boy, we're undefeated, man. Shit, we're undefeated. Is this us? We haven't lost since November, which was against you lot. You pipe down. Little old Jamaica doing better than you lot.
Why weren't you guys in the CONCACAF Nations League?
Yeah, you lot need to be in that. Like, you lot couldn't win anything. I don't think America's best 11 will beat the best team in the championship. You lot are not good at anything. Is Matt Turner playing in goal?
I don't believe that our team would beat anybody in the Premier League. I don't.
Yeah, you don't want to do anything.
Because I've never repped them the way that you're saying that I rep them.
You did. You said they were you lot were the next up. You did.
Robinson.
Where's he from? Milton
smooth.
Keynes. You think he's
He
not
plays
eating
smooth.
beans on toast?
Listen, maybe the beans on
Pulisic
toast
is Croatian
is
as well.
the difference.
Pulisic is Croatian, so you can't claim him. Colonizers doing colonizer stuff, eh? Peak.
Oh my gosh.
This is what you learn, boy. Exactly. Jess has got too much chess getting at England, sorry, and back in America for a team that got done up by Panama. Fair enough, man. You don't need to give all of them visas.
Best team that ever lived, so I have no shame, none.
I said DG and Jess is like Burkamp and Omri. Appreciate that. Appreciate the way you feel like that. And remember, she's ill and she's putting in a lot of work. Let's get into the football as well. Keep your thoughts coming if you lot have anything, people. Obviously, this isn't necessarily relevant, but since the beginning of 2025, no player has created more big chances in the Premier League than Declan Rice. I only mentioned that because I don't know if you watched the England game, but Tuchel kind of used him as a double 6 pivot with Lewis-Skelly. And obviously you can, I hope everyone can see. Let me zoom in. You can see the numbers. What number is Rice? Number 4. And obviously Lewis-Skelly is 23. They're kind of like in a double 6. What do you make of Lewis-Skelly making his England debut and Lewis-Skelly's life so far in these 8 months? And what do you make of Rice's role in that 8 under Tuchel?
Miles Lewis-Skelly is he's the type of midfielder that I feel like so many of us are like wanting in our midfield. He just has so many good qualities off the ball and on the ball, and I think he complements Declan really well. I think he's done really well, and watching the 2 games that he played, especially after all the hate he was getting, he's just
racism.
Right. He's just unfazed and unflustered by the noise, and I think that's super important being Black, playing for the English national team, and also playing for Arsenal. That is a double whammy, so I think he's done really well for himself. I like the way Tuchel used the 2 of them, because I do think Declan is much better in a double pivot. That doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to play a 4-4-2, but you need to get 2 players at the base. Miles was doing a little bit more of the passing between the lines, and Declan was winning the ball back. It was really nice. It flowed. And it allowed Morgan Rogers and Jude to be more creative and free, which I like that. I just think Miles Lewis-Skelly is exceptional. In my opinion, he's our starting left back, and it's not really close. Just got to keep him fit. I would be starting him next season as well. He's fantastic. Declan, I've maintained that I feel like he's a 6 and we should double down on it. I don't really like this in front of the ball role that he has. I think it stunts his best qualities. So maybe Arteta needs to look at that. But he seems very hell-bent on playing him at the 8, especially if he wants to get Zubimendi in.
Hold your Zubimendi foot.
I will. But yeah, I think to me, this is the first time in a long time that I haven't seen the England fans complain about being able to build up. Now, I know that they didn't play against the absolute best opposition, but I think when you have a more balanced team and you don't always need to build out and have your 6 on a pivot and dropping the shoulder to receive the ball and go forward. Sometimes you just need a balanced midfield and have players doing what they do best. So Declan 100% can play the 6. As long as he has somebody playing almost like a pivot next to him, I think he thrives. I think when you have him in a single pivot by himself with 2 attacking midfielders, that doesn't suit him, So yeah, I rate it. I liked it. What did you think?
I think you're bang on the money, man. Like Lewis-Skelly, dream debut, scored. He's got that Saka thing about him in that every time he just keeps going up the levels, he just handles it. He doesn't look unfazed, and for the life has come at him fast for in these 8 months. He's done amazing. Credit to him. Declan Rice, naturally, when he's in a role that's more home to him, I know he's been for the best part of this season and last season been playing as an 8, but his bread and butter is a 6 of sorts. Now I know people talk about, Arteta wants him to win the ball high up the field, or they think he can't receive it on a half turn consistently. I do think these have basis, but I don't think it's a coincidence. You play him in a position that enhances others. He mops up, wins the ball back, does all that kind of stuff. Everything else he does beyond that is a bonus. And it makes me just feel like, obviously, I don't want to say we will, because there's valid claims with Lewis-Skelly being a long-term left back. And you could argue him not being a left back in the first team doesn't get him playing for England. Doesn't get him first team right now. It
Mm.
doesn't get me and you arguing about, yes, last week, in which I must admit, even though I did agree with you, I have to be honest, I'm leaning towards your point of view now. The Lewis-Skelly and the Timber thing, it's mainly because of the England game. I was like, you know what? You've confirmed the temperament. Like, there's still the dangers, but there's that. So white flag up in that regards. And even with Lewis-Skelly, like, unfortunately, when you speak of Lewis-Skelly, there's no way of getting away from the racism claims and all of this kind of stuff. Kind of going back to, I know he's having a laugh and a joke about England and America, but one thing, and I don't know what it is, maybe because it's just, there's more people there. And I just think you lot are a bit more outgoing and personality kind of driven. I think in this country, you kind of got to play the game a bit and not speak out of turn. And the only way to kind of do that is being like Kante or Saka, not criticizing them, and you still get on them. I think if the English game was in America, I think these things don't happen with Lewis-Skelly, because it seems like you lot are, I don't know, one thing I rate about you lot, even with like Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James, it's like you can talk your shit, but if you talk your shit and it goes left, we can get onto you and then you kind of keep it moving. We're not like that here, but Lewis-Skelly's got it all, man. I don't know if his future will be as an 8. I think he'll be a 6. I actually want to see him get more opportunities in midfield. I also want to see him potentially even partner Declan Rice. Like, Lewis-Skelly's got it all, but I do think he can make a career at left back, and I guess we're gonna have to see, man. Like, he's living the dream. Long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like his trajectory into the first team has to change the thought process of how we build the midfield moving forward. I think you have to have an idea of him moving into midfield full term at some point and getting him minutes in that position. If Arsenal, which I read the other day that they're still looking to bring in a left back, my idea would be that he'd be also a really good option in midfield. And if you have somebody like Miles, who is more of like a 6, and you have Declan that's more of like a 6, then wouldn't that inform you to maybe get somebody that's a little bit more of like an 8? I just feel like Arsenal are trying to make things, they're trying to make things too hard.
Could that free up Odegaard as well?
Yeah, I think it would. I think what we miss on the left-hand side with the Granite situation is, when's the last time that we had somebody on the left-hand side that can actually evade pressure, but also ping a pass in between the lines on that left-hand side. The pass that Lewis-Skelly made to Raheem Sterling in the Carabao Cup a while ago.
Who's that?
To Raheem Sterling.
Quality player, go on.
And I think Raheem then passed it to Culinary. I just feel like that opening up your body and being able to pass that ball in that space, and also being able to hit the ball from the left-hand side to the right-hand side without having to switch it to your right, is much needed. So he could solve some problems at left center mid, and also have somebody that's good off the ball. You can also use him in the 6 and then use somebody a little bit more advanced. I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we pigeonhole him into this left back role, where his qualities really would be so good for us in midfield. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm like, he's just a midfielder. I would hate for him to be stunted at left back.
I'm with you with that, but then I question our own logic and think, just because we see that, does that mean it's the right thing? Because I still maintain that. I think, especially with what you said about building long term, but then I deep it, Arteta does play the seniority thing. Like, I think Lewis-Skelly and Culinary would have got minutes, but we've got to be honest, the injuries and them taking their chances we've got here. Obviously, if he wasn't able to nail down this left back role, he doesn't make his England debut. He's not playing the amount of minutes he wants to. And if everything fell into place across this season in particular, even if Lewis-Skelly plays, we don't get him in midfield. And you're basically playing in midfield anyways for England, as we can see on this graphic, and obviously for Arsenal. And I just think you could lock down that left back role. Like, maybe it's a Saka thing where you pay your dues, you play where you're playing, and then when the time comes, you have that conversation and things go. And I guess you've got to be more functional.
Not by a left back?
No. We still need I'm not going into that trap. We need a left back. We need one. We're short there. Like, obviously, if a lot of the talking points we can get into weren't a thing, then we probably don't. But Kivio's an option there. We both know he might not leave, but his future is going to be subject to speculation. Zinni's on a decent fee, decent wages, and they'll probably try to get a fee with him on a year left. Calafiori can't stay fit, so I'm not really seeing much in that regards. Who else is there? Tierney's gone. I'm not convinced with Lewis-Skelly and Calafiori as our only left back options. I have all the faith in Lewis-Skelly, but he's young. He could get injured. They're on to you for yellow cards. Calafiori is a car crash defensively, needs to go on a crash course defensively. I think we need another left back, man. I don't know if it should be the priority. I think, God forbid, as we've seen on occasion, if someone's suspended and some people are missing, we're not that far removed from having to put Timber potentially over there and have to start messing about. How, like, do you actually feel a left back's needed? Because I'm taking Hato who can play there. But
like I'm trying, because with Arsenal, unless we become a completely different side and a completely different team, then we know we're going to go into the summer window and something's not going to get done. And so if Miles, it has to be taken into consideration that he plays left back. If his future is in midfield, then you bring in a left back. If his future is not, and you have him as a left back now, and you have Calafiori, and you also know Timber can play on that side too in an emergency, then maybe you need to prioritize midfield and attack and go a season without getting the left back. I just don't see
can we
how
afford
we
that
continuously buy in that particular position, which Hato will not be cheap. We know Hato will not be cheap. So you're going to be taking away from something else. And the further we get along, the more I'm thinking like we really need to make sure we get that striker, the winger, and a midfielder. That left back, continuously buying that left back just feels
when you don't buy right, you buy again, innit? Really, I'm being a bit harsh to Calafiori and all of these things, but the reality is, it feels like every season, me and you are making streams, and the left back has been brought in, a goalkeeper has been brought in, and we know there's little isms and schisms. But at the end of the day, if you keep having to buy, are you buying correctly? You know, I love Tomiyasu, but he's played 6 minutes of Premier League football. I don't even know if you're going to be back in December. And it's one thing Tomiyasu getting back fit. It's another thing that man's staying fit. What? So how you don't feel a left back is that vital this summer?
I think it's a way less of a priority than
out of 10
anything else. Out of anything else, I think it goes straight from the top all the way down to the back. I think literally in that order, the striker and the winger are the most important, then midfield, then left back, then goalkeeper, backup goalkeeper. That's literally the priority. So I'm just thinking, with the emergence of a player that can play left back and center mid, how do you leverage that to make sure that you can push more funds into a position that really needs a lot of surgery? Because in my opinion, you can get away with a lot more, meaning injuries at the back, if your attack is so potent that it just scores more goals than anyone else. So if you do go through a little bit of a period where your defense isn't as solid because you have injuries, you can take that under. Right now, we really don't have that wiggle room. So yeah, I get what people are saying. I do want to know what you think about, I know this is your show, but I have to ask, what do you think about the way Hato played? How do you think about Hato? Because you know he made the mistake in that first game, but he recovered. Is he even right now? Is he better than Lewis-Skelly?
Yeah.
What?
Not all aspects? Yeah. I like Lewis-Skelly.
You think Hato is better than Lewis-Skelly?
Yep. I'm not gonna kill you for getting ripped getting ripped in that game. You got a lot to learn, but what we're not gonna do is forget he's played 100 times for Ajax, captain, then played centre half and left back. He is very raw, and clearly when he gets caught, I think Lewis-Skelly is a bit more composed on the ball than him. But in terms of the maturity I've seen in defensive aspects, I think he reads the game in defensive metrics a bit more than Lewis-Skelly. Like, I love Lewis-Skelly's technical ability, his intelligence, clearly the way he goes into midfield and glides. But if there's 1-2 areas he can improve, and he's improving, is following runners, it's being alert in defensive situations. Now, that's not his fault. You weren't an organic left back. I'm having Hato, man. I know he got savage for his country, but I've seen Lewis-Skelly get in trouble at youth level, and that's actually one thing I've seen change. Because when there was times Lewis-Skelly would get caught on the ball, even in his day, even against. And that's one thing I like. He improves quickly. Go and watch. Is it Bolton or Preston? They scored one of the goals where Lewis-Skelly was caught out of position. Now that happens, and it also happened against Newcastle. But one thing I like about Lewis-Skelly is that happened against Newcastle. I'm sure the next game or the game after that, he was in the same situation and he learned. But they're both at where I expect them to be at this age, if it makes sense. So yeah, there's that. I think you made a good point about Lewis-Skelly in general, and you made an even better point about how, like, we need to get, as dumb as it sounds in theory, because football you have to, it's like we could probably get away with certain things defensively if we were better in the offensive third, because we're kind of like the opposite. We'll try it defensively, we're solid, quote unquote. Midfield, it is what it is. If we get a chance, we bank on taking it, but we kind of know if we're not going to score, we more probably believe as Arsenal fans, we're more likely to keep a clean sheet than mash up someone else's clean sheet. So it is a very interesting dynamic, man. Like, I get it. You said in the order of striker, winger, centre mid, left back, right? See, I'm a bit different because for me,
Yeah,
it's
just like
striker,
right now.
centre mid, left wing, and then left back.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've spoken
But they all have to be
about
addressed this
midfield.
summer.
Midfield is such a crazy puzzle because Arteta likes all these players that play different positions, but ultimately,
Not for the
like
super chat.
with
Go on.
Odegaard playing like this more deeper role, do you need another number 10? Does it make sense to spend a lot on a number 10 that we know is not going to start? Because that's the conversation that I was having on Mo's channel. They were screaming, you need a number 10, you need a number 10. And I'm
That
like,
Nepan guy, innit?
I was like, I get that. But if Arteta is looking at Zubimendi and you bring in Zubimendi to play the 6, no one of Odegaard, Declan Rice, or Zubimendi will go to the bench. That's just the truth. They will be the starting midfield. So the number 10 is going to be somebody that comes in every once in a while, like Fabio and Emil did. Is that the best use of our resources? I'm not 100% sure because you
got
have
Ethan there as well. He's going to play a couple of roles a bit like Lewis-Skelly.
100%. So I'm just thinking like, we have 2 starting positions that need to be addressed: wing and striker up front, and then the midfielder.
There's no maybe. Midfield is of great importance. Same way.
It's gonna be a 6, and I know that like that's
yeah, because Rice. Yeah, you're right. I believe you.
So if it was up to me, it would be just I would let Jorginho and Partey go, and then Declan Rice and MLS would be my 6 options, and I would go get an 8, a true 8, a Reinders, somebody like that. But you know they're not going to do that. You know they're not going to do that. Like, you know that. So it's like
Diallo. Sorry, Jess, that doesn't make sense. Sorry to cut you. Hold your thought, but that doesn't make sense. Jess asked me, do I think Hato is better defensively or whatever than Lewis-Skelly? I said yes. How does that mean I would want to swap him? I think Salah is better. Exactly, but he said logic would follow. I think Salah is better than Saka. I'm not going to swap Saka for Salah. Like, come on. Anyways, Jess, go on. I cut you. I just had to I don't like foolishness.
Yeah, it's just the midfield. I think so many of us would do it differently, but I think Arteta has a clear vision of how he wants the midfield to be, and it feels like he's going, Declan to the 8 and bringing in a 6. That means that, the 10 is going to be someone else, and it's.
Are we exaggerating the Rice in the 8 then? Like, I know we don't like it, but are we exaggerating it? Like, he's never going to be our cup of tea. We're used to Cess and Santi and this and that. And fair enough, Mikel Arteta knows more about football than us. Are we exaggerating it just because we don't want to see him in the 8 or we don't necessarily think that's his best position? Are we exaggerating?
I think when we're playing up against teams that open up, Declan is perfectly fine in the 8. Nothing wrong with it. But when we play against deep blocks, we know he struggles to operate in those small areas. And that's where I feel like having the option to bring in another more attack-minded midfielder that's not Havertz and that's not Marino, somebody who can unpick a lock to play, Odegaard, Rice, and that person would work for us. But we need that option. And that's the kind of the option that was taken away when we got rid of both Emil and Fabio. And I think that's why we struggle. Remember when we played against I think it was like Fulham at home. I know we ended up drawing that season, but when we needed to push for a goal, we had the option to move things around and bring in Fabio, and he had like that one good cameo. That's just an example of something that we don't have the option to do. We literally don't have that option. Anybody that we're bringing in to play in that left 8 is not any more attacking than Declan Rice is, to be honest. So that would be nice to have an option. I know Naipan or Nipan is somebody that you can buy, but you
development signing.
Yeah, maybe you could go get something a little bit more, progressive. Maybe you go get a Turkey. I don't know, but
I just realized something. Mikel Arteta, you're doing horrible things. Like Declan Rice isn't playing in the 8. I've seen Mikel Merino play in the 8. I've seen Kai Havertz play in the 8. Gaffer, I believe in you. Like even though I have questions, what's going on?
He hasn't been able to replace Granit. All of that has come from, and that's not to say that Granit,
even with Partey, because Jack was more rounded than these, man.
Yeah, it's just not. he was so fundamental to the way that midfield operated, and it's changed Odegaard's position a lot, and nobody can pick up the slack in what he brought, So Xhaka had a really good passing range, and he was able to open up that left-hand side with Zinni, and we really missed that. So, yeah.
And that's the
I've
annoying
seen
thing.
Alex Baena in the comments. I was gonna name him, but my fear with him is that he doesn't play in a off-the-ball system, and I'm afraid that he would get beat up.
He's not. He's a baller. I don't know
Yeah.
if we're gonna find the quid. I mean, Diallo. I just said I'm not gonna swap something, and now you're moving the goalpost. I've used an outlier. I could do this a lot of the time, really, with several players. You think Hato isn't better than Lewis-Skelly defensively? I think he is. That's cool. Stop trying to force your opinions. We're not gonna die. But yeah, I wanted to ask you as well, man. Like, how much faith have you got in Berta this summer? Like, surely, bearing in mind Edu left in November, he's still not been officially confirmed to us, but we hear he's joined us, and that will make it March. Have we thingy like? Is it? Is it a next summer thing for Berta to show what he's like? Is he just gonna come and add the finishing touches on the groundwork already placed?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm hoping for the best. I really am. I'm hoping that he has license to bring his ideas. I know Arsenal like to say that they've been working for so long on things, but a lot can change. And so I'm hoping that he brings some different ideas. Hold on, keep talking. I need to use the restroom.
Go on, 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 go on. Ah, mate. Diallo, you do piss me off sometimes, man. It's all love, though. I can name 30 players better than Rice in the eight. Less of that. Even if it's true, we don't do that. Rice made about the same number of big chances as Salah this season. Salvador, I'm not going to lie. That's why stats don't lie, but they also don't tell the truth. Like with me, with the 6 stuff with Mikel Arteta, Rice in the 8 stuff with Mikel Arteta, I just love to have a conversation because I can see reasons why. But then I'm also like, you're kind of trying to reinvent the wheel slyly. And for me, I'm looking at that midfield because, Jess made a great point of Granit Xhaka. Like Granit Xhaka, I think people are harsh, but you could say he had one real outstanding season. We still haven't replaced that. Where you look at it, like Granit Xhaka on this side, and then you look at Rice, Havertz, Marino's played in there. They're not as all-rounded as a midfielder as Xhaka. That doesn't mean they're not better at certain things. And then Partey is going to walk through the door now. We can go back to, ironically, the summer we signed Kai Havertz and Declan Rice. We was all talking about, can we grab Lavia? That seems like the younger party. There's a lot to do, man. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't think we're going to get all the business done in terms of ingoings and outgoings. I don't know how much big money signings are impacted with potentially handling giving our big 3 new deals, or Kai Havertz's wages not to create a pylon on Kai Havertz, or even Gabriel Jesus. You can't flog him. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of moving parts, man. But I would say at a minimum, there is a conversation between quality and quantity. But at the very minimum, I think we need 3 to 4 signings that immediately shake up our starting 11. And for me, bit what Jess said, we had different priorities, but everyone would agree: striker, central midfield, left wing. I think there needs to be another left back in the mix. God forbid Lewis-Skelly suspended, Calafiori picks up another injury. You probably have to move Timber over there. Tomiyasu's a no-show. We've all said that there's been several games this season where you're like, oh, I wonder if Tomiyasu's there. Even the game at the Bernabeu. But it is what it is in that regards, man. Like it's jarring. We have to get it done. And then the goalie things. And if our manager spends 20 odd million on Garcia, which is another goalie, I don't know how much of a transfer pot we have.
I mean,
how far it goes.
They're obsessed with the goalkeeper. And I won't lie, he's really, really good. But
he is quality still.
It's just at some stage, we need to get the attack done. And there's no clear option for us at striker at the moment. I know people.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah, there's no clear option. And they're all so different, the players that we're being linked to. So I'm a little concerned in that way, but make no mistake about it. We need 2 attackers and a midfielder, bare minimum starters. So get to work.
It's unfortunate what LJ said here. Like Tommy's a write-off, and I'm at that point now. I'm not trying to be disingenuous, but I'm at this point of rightly or wrongly, whether they need to go or stay, kind of accepting certain men for what they are. Like I know I'm exaggerating, but Gabriel Jesus, I'm not going to expect you to be that guy that's going to score. Trossard and Martinelli, I don't know if you're going to turn a corner. Rice, you're going to play as an 8. Tomiyasu, you're going to be a 6 note. Now I want to go around it because I feel within the last 2 to 3 seasons, we keep going around these things. And unfortunately, as you lot know, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Let's skip through some stuff as well, Jess, man. Are we going on your channel?
Yeah.
When? You aired my thing in the private chat.
Right after.
All right, cool. So yeah, let's quickly go through this and then we'll F off onto your channel, man. Her communication is poor. We've gone over the Lewis-Skelly business. Odegaard got 3 assists. Is he back? Could this spark an uptake in form?
I hope so. When he came off the pitch, he looked relieved, hugging the coach, so he already knows he's not playing well. I don't know if everybody thinks that he's just like, oh, I'm so great. He's already said he's not playing up to the levels, but the idea that he's not somebody that can create moments or get assists, or I feel like that's all recency bias. I hope he's back.
Do you think, like, obviously in line with the recency bias chat, yeah, do you think we know he's as important to the team, he's very important to the team with Mikel Arteta, but if you were to ask prior to this season, I'm not necessarily saying better, but if you were saying like the most important players, you would have had the majority of our defense, you would have had Saka, you would have had Odegaard. Is he a level below them?
No, I think he is in that top tier bracket. I feel like he's not important, but we're playing like shit. Doesn't make sense. I could understand if we were playing really good and he was playing terrible, and then it's like, oh, we don't need him. But that's not the truth. When he wasn't in the team, we were awful, and then when he came back, we were good, and then he's kind of fallen off. So he is important. Is he as high as Saka and Saliba? No. But is he in that same bracket? I think so. When he plays good, we play good.
How much are you selling him for? If you had to. Odegaard, because that's been a conversation.
80.
Right, 80 mil.
If somebody came in with 80, I would consider. Everybody has a price for me except for probably Saka. I think that's the one player that I would really
Lewis-Skelly as well.
Yeah. So everyone else, there's a price, You
mentioned price. Look who's on screen, and you're seeing Trent going on a free to Real Madrid. Does that not make you nervous?
No. I think we have him for a couple more years.
Couple is literally the length of his contract. A gal said there's a rumor he's got a 1-year option, but are you nervous?
Not really, because I feel like I've already written it into my mind, like that he will go, so I think we just have to try to win things. I think him saying that he wants to win things with Arsenal gives you at least some solace that it's not going to be this summer, but it will be eventually. And the way that Real Madrid are playing things, they're telling you behind the scenes that you cannot sign a new deal or else we won't come in for you. So
all the French boys over there as well.
Yeah. So when they offer a new deal, we will know where he stands. We don't know yet, but when they offer him a new deal, which I'm sure Berta will offer Gabriel, Saka, and Saliba new deals, if he doesn't sign it, it's done.
At what point do we have to obviously, because you have seen rumors that Trent, they've been trying to gas you since 2023. At what point do we have to sit there and go, you know what, Saliba, we're selling you? If that is the case, because we all know he's there.
If he doesn't sign the new contract.
Do you think we'll get over the big 3 to sign new deals?
So Saka, I think, will sign one. Gabriel, yes, I think so, because it wouldn't stop us from accepting a bid from Saudi if he really wanted to go, but
100 million shouts as well. Yeah. Like, it's got to be tempting.
Yeah. But Saliba, we'll know if he doesn't sign a new deal and a little bit, couple months go by, then you know what the tea is, you know what the deal is, but then we would need to sell him to get some sort of fee, so we'll see how things pan out with that. But it is what it is. When you have a top 1% player the best teams are going to come and they can pinch him off of you. You know, that's just the reality. We've been here before. So.
Yep. Shit, don't give me PTSD. Would you accept 100 million from him? Because that's the talk.
If he wanted to go.
No, not the political thing, because you made that point, Jess, and we agree with you. Jess, she knows Arsenal is the Arsenal manager. 100 million has been bidded for Gabriel Magalhaes. Berta has come into your office and said, darling, 100 million on the table. Do you want me to accept it or not? Are you accepting it?
I've already been asked this question. If a bid of 100 million came from Saudi for Gabriel, as unpopular as it would sound, I may do it. And the reason for that is we know we're self-sustaining. We know whatever war chest they're talking about doesn't exist. And if we want to have the window that we really want to have without having to do anything, at some point we will have to sell for big money. So as much as I know you'd want to do other people probably before him, I know a lot of people would want to do Odegaard. There is no 100 million pound bid coming in for him. So I think the only problem would be that I'd feel more comfortable doing it if Calafiori wasn't crocked. I think Calafiori is meant to be somebody that can play that position. But yeah, I mean, 100 million is hard to turn down when you know you have a self-sustaining model that relies upon you selling, and you have no Jesus. You can't sell him. You can't sell Kai. You know, what are you going to use to beef up this pot so that you can go out there and make sure that you get the midfielder, the striker, and the left wing net? Because we will start to get drip fed that we need to sell.
We already are. We already are slyly. Like, it's a bit like last summer. Like, I think fans, we was looking at it in fan mode, like 2 points off City. If we just get this, that, and the other, there clearly was an element of that and an inability of our club to do that. But naturally, there was sales, because that was probably the first summer, give or take, with Eddie and Nketiah, Ramsdale, and Smith Rowe, that we've done okay in that regards. I'm a bit conflicted, because 100 million, you got a decision to make, but then
conflicted. He's been our player of the season. It would not be an easy decision.
And then it's also like, I know obviously we would have to get back into the Arsenal of old, where at the moment of selling, you might have a long-term replacement, but they might not be as good. We'd have to kind of with that. But then we're in win now mode type of thing. So it's like, you want to keep Gabriel Magalhaes. How far does it sound stupid, but how far does 100 million go? Or how far of that 100 million that we got would have to be put towards a top strike, top centre half? Sorry. Fair enough if we're doing the Brighton Brentford thing. We've scouted random Joe Blogs who comes into that, because the Gabriel Magalhaes today wasn't the Gabriel Magalhaes that walked in. Calafiori, I know a lot of people were saying, oh my God, he's going to eclipse Gabriel Magalhaes. He needs to learn how to defend. We're talking about he's a left back, he's a centre half, where he's not, and he is a centre half. He needs to go on a defensive crash course. So it's a difficult decision, but it's a bit like what you said with Saliba. It's if you make it clear. And I think Gabriel Magalhaes is on everything. I think he's on going Saudi. I think he's keen to stay at Arsenal. Haven't really see him linked with PSG, but you don't really see him linked with the big European clubs. I think he's naturally open to that. And this is why I want to win stuff, because Partey hasn't won nothing at this club. Saka, when he won an FA Cup, weren't in the main team like that. Gabriel Magalhaes won something in Croatia. He didn't win anything. Now we need to start winning stuff, or get into finals in that as a team. And so we'll have to see. Zubimendi hijack. Apparently Real Madrid are pushing. Talk to me, man.
For me, as much as I like Zubimendi, this would not devastate me.
Why? Because it was meant to be the guy we're meant to get. It's Arteta's big dream. We were drip fed in January that he's ours.
I think because Zubimendi, to me, is not somebody that he will kind of make us better, but he's not like he doesn't feel like somebody that would have an impact of like a Bruno Guimaraes, in my opinion. I think he pretty much keeps our midfield where it's at right now. You know, I think he replaces a Partey or a Jorginho, and we pretty much stay the same. So, you know, is he the only tempo controller in Europe? I mean, people are acting like it. This would force us to go in a different direction. And part of me wants some of the links that we've had over the last 2 summers to fall off, so that...
And you're fucked for saying that, but I know why, because it forces us to try and pivot.
Yeah, it forces us to go in a different direction. And this is the safe direction that we've been trying to go in the last couple of windows, where we're not really going after those level raisers. We're going after players that are going to kind of keep us the same, maybe improve us a little bit, maybe make us different. And it would give Berta the opportunity to go out and get maybe his guy, because this is definitely Arteta's guy. So, and to be honest, if Real Madrid come in for him, we have no chance. So I wouldn't expect any sort of
especially if they get
pre-agreement.
Alonso.
Yeah, any type of pre-agreement or anything like that to stand in his way with us. You know, it's always, yeah, I'll come to you as long as Real Madrid doesn't knock, you know. So it is one of those things. If we were losing him to a Chelsea or a Liverpool, I can understand a little bit more, but if it's Real Madrid, it is what it is. But like the Sesko, Nico Williams, Zubimendi window was not going to take us to the promised land, really, was it? You know, it probably would have made us better, but is it, you know, so it would force us to switch up. And I
But don't we have to accept them kind of guys, Jess? If we're not going to go get Isaac and that, don't we have to get the guys that maybe 2 years from now, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, we should have got them, blah, blah, blah.
This is true. You know, I can see that, but there are other players out there in Europe. You know, I feel like there just has to be better. And the thing is, I guess I'm just not as hot as him on the 6. I'd prefer Declan to go there. You open up so many more opportunities
Grab an 8
with 8 than you do at the 6, you know, in the way that we're trying to make it work, you know. So I kind of would be okay with this. I'm not sure where the Sesko links have gone either, you know, so it's kind of like, what are we about to do? But I mean, how do you feel about it? Do you care? Like, I feel nothing. When I thought Declan Rice was getting hijacked, I crashed out. I feel nothing about this.
Like I like Zubimendi. I would like you at Arsenal. I do think we're in that weird stage now where, you know, when we get linked with a bunch of players, then we're linked with one. They're the best thing since sliced bread, especially in January where we didn't do anything and all the newspaper dons were saying we're going to sign Zubimendi. People look at him like he's so amazing, and then they write him off against United. I do like him, but I always look at it like this: if you're not Lionel Messi, Neymar, all of these guys, if they say no, if them players say no, then it's the end of the world. They're 1 in a million. As good as Zubimendi is, you should be able to pivot. And every player will tell you yes until it's signed on the dotted line. And also in Zubimendi's case, like we've seen this we saw it with us, we saw it with Liverpool. Like, do you really, I think he fits in, but do you really think he's a curtain raiser? Like,
I don't know. I think that's trying to understand.
The gray area.
Is he the type of player that the type of work that he does is just not sexy, so you can't see it? Or is he just an okay player? That's what I can't decide. Because I don't know if the work that he does is just, he does have a lot of recoveries. He does have a lot of tackles. He does win the ball back a lot. Yeah. I think I'm not sure if it's just he'll go to another level at another team or what, because when he played with Spain the other day, it's not like he was playing with bums, man. He was playing with Pedri and Fabian Ruiz, and they could not control a midfield against Tijani Reinders and Frankie de Jong, you know. So I'm not sure how I feel about it, but you know, this would actually show us how good Berta actually is, because we had supposedly been working on this for a while. If the rug gets pulled out from you underneath you, how do you pivot? You know, and what is your vision for the midfield? Be interesting to see.
Be interested to see exactly how they clash. Would you take Bilal Al-Khanous, the Leicester guy? I'm having him.
You know what? If you like him, I love him, because I don't think I've watched enough Leicester to know what this guy is on, you know, but he's allegedly supposed to be pretty good. Would he be a good option, like we were talking about, instead of like a Nipin going for a number 10 that could kind of be in the cut when we want to break down deep blocks? Potentially, you know. So if they like it, I love it, you know.
And you know what it is for me, Jess. It's like, you see, it's very different, but like, to be honest, Arsenal fans haven't done it recently, but typically, you know, if there's a Sterling, a Rashford, a Kai Havertz, any player that's down on their luck, Arteta can change them, type of thing. I'd rather him work with these kind of guys that got a little base. Maybe he could be the Fabio Vieira kind of squad player, because he scored against Spurs this season. I'm always going to support you. These Moroccan kind of players, they're always technically proficient. He's obviously played in Belgium. We was linked with him then. I don't know on the fee. I don't even know how credible this interest is, but I'm having him at the carpet, man. I think he's versatile. I'm having him, especially if it don't break the bank. We have a bigger squad, resale value. It makes sense. I just don't buy it per se. Hugo Ekitike, chat to me. We've been apparently he's the new target, as you quite mentioned. We don't know what happened with Sesko, but something's happened. Apparently, he's the new one. 60 million.
I don't think I like this. And
talk to us.
You know what it is? I want somebody who's like the opposite of what we've had over the last couple of seasons, which are guys that play better with another person in the team that's the actual goal scorer. And I kind of feel like he has a similar vibe to him. I know he played well for the under-21s, but under-21s is not like first team type of shit. It's really not. He did really well with Marmouche, but is he the kind of number 9 that is really going to be able to like
do the
business when it really needs to get done? I'm not sure. I know that he scored quite a few goals in the Bundesliga, but it's the fucking Bundesliga. If you're watching that, you know that there's a lot of
but you want Sesko as well, though. Well,
but Sesko is more of the profile. Sesko is more of the profile, though. And Sesko also has the most goals. He's reached 100 goals, you know, the most for an under-21 player. Ekitike is not in that bracket. So there's more of a data pool to pull from Sesko, that it's not
and
just
we've been linked with Sesko forever, to be fair.
Yeah, so, and he also just has the right profile. He is a bagsman. He looks for the goal. He could strike through the ball. He's not that kind of guy. And so I know that Arsenal probably want Isak because he can do the creation stuff, but he can also score a lot of goals. Not a lot of players are like that can do those things at a high level. You're going to have to pick and choose. And if I have to pick and choose, I'm going to pick the bagsman. I'm not going to pick the guy that's more creative and looks better on the eye. He's an aesthetically pleasing type of dude, but I just feel like at the end of the day, we're going to be like, we need to play him with Havertz to get the most out of him or some shit.
Yeah,
I don't really want that.
I'm not on that, man. Yeah, no, like obviously, if life was fair, it's like win now mode. We're laughing. I would like a punt on Gyökeres. I don't really care about Sesko or Hugo Ekitike because I'm kind of understanding that as much as I'm in win now mode and I want to have a good summer after a frustrating last one, if we're not going to go and get the ready-made guys, then we have to try and find, I'm not saying these are going to be them, but you need to find these players before they get to where they're at. And he might be one of them. I share your thoughts. I do think he made the move to PSG a bit too early. I do like his general play. I don't know if you've got the capacity to score goals on a consistent basis or if this is a purple patch. And I'm not just saying just because Isaac did it that everyone else is going to do it, but maybe he could do that. I'm at the point now, just honestly, I don't care. Like, if
get something done.
Get someone in and I'll talk about it later. As I said with Igal, if you sign Isaac 450 million, I want to see that signed, and then we sit there and say, oh, do you know what? Is the price tag this? Is he too injury prone? If you obviously get Ekitike or Sesko, can they do it? Are they good signings? I'm at the point where I just want a forward, man. I just want a forward. It's techie though, man. No hope with Isaac. Apparently contract talks have paused.
With Liverpool in the mix now, I don't know. You know, if they really push for him and he has to choose between the two of us, I know he loves Henry, but he did say he wanted somebody with European pedigree. Unfortunately, that is not us, you know? So I would love to imagine, you know, I do think that he would fit us quite well. And I think the dream of Nico Williams, Saka, and Isak is, I mean, that rivals the Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, those guys. Like it's up there.
It'd be a dream.
But it's a dream. And so, you know, I'm not sure. I love Gyökeres too. I think he's really good. He has a lot of really good qualities, and sometimes strikers just peak a little bit later. You know, we like to feel like people are going to peak at 22, 23. But he's like 26, 27 now. This does not strike me as an Arteta signing, though. This would have to be Berta. There's just no way.
I don't believe it because of this. I just think it's easy. It's easy to link not just Arsenal, but Newcastle need a forward, whether Isaac stays or they need a replacement. Man United, we're all linked with the same strikers. Everybody's going to be linked.
Somebody's going to get someone.
Someone's going to get someone, and we have to get someone. Yeah. Like we can't be left empty-handed. What I don't want to hear is anything about powder dry, anything about we couldn't get the profiles. I'm not into this. Berta did or didn't do it. Arteta did or didn't do it. Kroenke this. You lot There's enough intelligent, quote unquote, individuals there. Make it happen. Gyökeres would be good. Obviously, he's done it. He's done it. I don't buy Arsenal's interest in Gyökeres. Sterling, we need to make him permanent. Apparently, we won't exercise our buy option, which I think is a damn disgrace. Arsenal and Liverpool are fighting for Hatto. Could you argue Arsenal are on par with Liverpool in terms of an attractive club? Yes, they've won more trophies than us. Yes, Arteta hasn't got it over the line, right? But you got 3 players' contracts running out. Konate, there's contract stuff. Alisson, maybe not next season, but the season after could be moved on. I personally don't think Slot rates Darwin Núñez and Jota. Surely, like, we've got a bit more stability, the London aspect. Liverpool are a bit like FSG in that they do the kind of penny pinching, quote unquote, thing. Surely, if Liverpool could tailor some sort of package, and Barcelona as well, surely we could be in the frame. He's got all his boys here as well.
Yeah, I
know
think,
I'm doing copium.
Like Ash says in the comments, like London will always be more attractive, and I think we definitely have that. I think what we probably don't leverage enough is Henry pushing players to us. I feel like that
get the Panama players still happen to your country.
Yeah,
can't be us.
Henry should definitely be in his ear trying to bring him to us. I think it would have to be a lot of soft factoring, really, because we wouldn't have the trophies to back it up. But you have to convince him that he's the missing piece to us winning it all. And to be honest, if he would prefer to go somewhere like Liverpool where it's already like set in stone that you're going to win things. But I would kind of rate him to come to us and be like, I'm the missing piece that you need. Because you know who did that? Ivan fucking Toney. He said it with chest. He said Arsenal are not going to win anything until they get a striker like me. And I kind of rate that. But if you just want to go somewhere where you know it's going to get done and, blah, 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 I would kind of rate him if he was like, I'm the missing piece. But I know some people, they don't feel that way. He literally would be, though, in a dream world, getting him and Nico Williams, which I see a lot of people doing a 180 on him. Stay on that side. Yeah, stay on that side. Relax. You guys.
Couple of goals in their back. He's a work in progress.
Semenyo is going to cost you 70 million, by the way.
I'm not on the Semenyo thing. I think he's a talented player, but I'd rather go get Embuemo, man.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it's the dream. If Arsenal feel like they can get it done, they would have to really try to convince them, I think.
Saka back. We got 2 points before we head over to your platform. Saka's back.
I love to see him back because I love him. Am I concerned? You know how I feel about the, rushing him back type of thing. He's back ahead of schedule and all that. But without him, we have no chance at the Bernabeu. So, there's
How's he ahead of schedule, though? Sorry to cut you. But that's if they said April and he's back. March, and he's back.
I just read that he's like ahead of schedule. So,
he's been pictured in training.
Because I think some people were saying he wouldn't play until like basically the sun is out in May. But either way, seeing Saka back is always a positive thing. Like, I would never be upset for that. Like,
but then again, you look at this video, that is your hamstring, it can get dark, man. Because what I don't want, if we fuck up this, whether he plays a minute or 20, one big concern is that this is a setback. Because when you have a hamstring tear to that level, there are going to be some setbacks, there are going to be some injuries, there are going to be some little niggles and whatnot. I'd rather him just sit out the season, but it is what it is, man. If he's fit, he's fit. My last thing, in fact, it wasn't that because that was for a gal. Fabio Vieira, can he have a future? I won't read this out, but AVB was speaking quite positive and saying Arsenal might have changed their mind. Can your boy Fabio have a future? You was waffling about American food. Maybe if you fed him up, you might be a bit robust to do a thing.
I like Fabio. I don't feel like I felt like I was.
Yeah, you like the soft players, man. You like the damaged goods.
I like the players that have something special, and I think he has a little bit of something, But whether Arteta can get away from the idea that everybody needs to be good off the ball, I don't know if he can. I think Fabio is never going to be able to be good off the ball. So you're going to have to platform kind of like him to be able to have a free role. And he doesn't do that, so I don't know. But I like Fabio. As far as I'm concerned, they'll maybe just sell.
What you saying? Yeah, that would be the last closing comments. Like, what are you actually saying for him? Because I said in my streams, I think Fabio Vieira will be the hardest sell. Not because I think he's the worst player. It's just he's got a couple of years on his contract. He's had some good moments at Porto, but he's hardly pulled up any trees. And I can't see that we'll be flushed with offers. Maybe he goes out on loan again. Like, Do you think he's a tough sell? Do you think Berta can pull something out? Do you completely rule out in your mind him be reintegrated back into the first team, or like, yeah?
He's a hard sell for Edu, but he shouldn't be for an experienced, sporting director. You should be able to find a place for a young Portuguese or 24-year-old Portuguese player to land. You should be able to. I don't think he's been soiled so badly by bad performances at Arsenal and Porto to not have any suitors whatsoever. So I expect us to not make our money back, but to make something. If Arsenal want to bring him back, though,
I don't mind it. If he's going to be a squad player.
Yeah, you would have to find a way to make that.
And his chain has been snatched.
So. But here's the thing about Ethan snatching his chain is that we always only have one player to fill the quota. It wouldn't be that we could actually use Fabio and Ethan in the squad. You could, but we always only have one thing that we can use. Because to me, Trossard is not an option at left center mid. He's
no. I'm not with them hipster things that some fans were running.
Yeah, and we know Marino doesn't add anything attacking wise to the left-hand side, and both Ethan and Odegaard are both, whether you like it or not, in the right space, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I just know Arteta really struggles with creative players that need freedom, and he doesn't figure out ways for them to just be free in their spot to just pick the pass. So yeah.
But then again, if Fabio's not good enough, I don't think Fabio's good enough to kind of with Liverpool. You see Salah, some games they put some more defensive tasks on him, but they tell him to stay up there. I don't know if Fabio's good enough to kind of change the whole dynamic because everyone's bought into it. I wouldn't mind him being part of the squad, but at the end of the day, you've returned home, you're playing better. I think you'll have a good career. I hope you look like a new signing at Arsenal, but I think you're gone. I just feel with Fabio, I think him, Lokonga and Kivior, maybe in hindsight, these were quote unquote smart additions. We probably tried to outsmart probably ourselves in the market, probably bought them when they was a bit too ripe. And obviously we've been fighting for titles or in intense top 4 battles and it just ain't worked out, man. But I wouldn't mind Fabio being part of the squad. I just think it was a mixture of things. I just think they were getting their loan fee. Fabio Vieira wanted to go. I think Arteta probably feels indifferent with Fabio in that he likes him on one hand. You can play everywhere. You're good for the bench, but there's just other guys better than you. It's as simple as that. And yeah, it'd be nice to see a revival, but sometimes it just doesn't always work out. But I guess we'll have to see. We really
Absolutely.
will.
And Victor makes a good point. That's what I say about PSG is that there is a world where you have smaller players in your team and they perform well. It's the way this one. They have a lot of creative players. They're not big. PSG went to Anfield with 2 5'5" midgets in their midfield and bossed it, so all this obsession with 6-foot-something players, that's an Arteta thing. You can play with smaller players that are more diminutive. You just have to be able to get them into those positions. And we play such an off the ball game that.
So do they though, Jess. It's just they understand to a degree we got to do something with the ball as well. I think that's Arteta. I need you to peel that back because you think about the opposition too much in the final third. I need a bit more going into next season.
Yeah.
Start.
For sure. No, I get you. 100%.
And with that, people, we're heading over to Jess's platform, man. We've been in far too long. She's ill, but the show still will commence. Let people know they can find you before I press the buttons we need to press and join the next live stream.
Yeah, guys. She knows Arsenal. You can just click it in the description, put it in the search bar, and then on everything else, I'm Jessica Black TV.
So yeah, smash the like button if you haven't, people. We've definitely over-dragged this, but the good news is we're heading back over to Jess's stream to be there as long as we need to be there. We'll see you lot in a sec, man. One love.
Bye, guys.